Hello student, good morning to all of you. Student, in last video I completed till ethanol, right? Denaturation of alcohol. Now today I am going to start with the preparation of ether. The nomenclature part we already completed, right? So in preparation of ether, the first method is by the dehydration of alcohols. Student, alcohol undergo dehydration in the presence of protic acids such as H2SO4, H3PO4, and the formation of the reaction product alkene or ether depends upon the reaction condition. That means, student, I just want to remind this particular dehydration of alcohol, because in the properties of alcohol also we already did this particular reaction where alcohol changes to alkene during dehydration. But the point is of temperature. If we are going to proceed this particular process at 443 Kelvin, right, then ethanol gives ethene or alcohol gives alkene. But when this especially happen at ethanol react at 413 Kelvin, then ethoxyethane is formed as a main product. So just by changing the temperature, in one condition ethanol gives ethene, another condition ethanol gives ethoxyethane. Now I want to discuss the mechanism of this formation of ethanol to ethene. So student, in this first step protonation takes place, that is the addition of H plus to ethanol, right? So this protonated alcohol is formed, and now in the second step, now student, it's very much important. See the first step carefully, because if your first step is clear, then second and third step is very easy. So you can see, very simple, we just add H plus to ethanol. Now it's the protonated alcohol. Now in the second step, the reactant means the product and ethanol both are going to be used as a reactant in the second step. See carefully, ethanol and the product of first step is going to be used as a reactant of second step, and in this step we are going to show the attachment of this group, ethyl group, to ethanol by the removal of water molecule, that is dehydration, right? So this is the attachment that you can see the bond is going to break, the attachment of ethyl group of that protonated alcohol, that H2O is going to remove, and this is the formation. Now in the last step, if you see the main product of this second step, here we required only CH3, CH2O, CH2, CH3. So here one H is extra. So now in the last step, this deprotonation takes place, that H is going to remove in the form of H plus, and we are getting our ethoxyethane. So in the last step, the reactant is the product of second step, that we are going to copy it here, and then only deprotonation, that bond of H is going to convert into lone pair electron of oxygen, and H plus is going to remove. So if you see that H plus is again free, again this H plus is going to convert the another molecule of ethanol to ethoxyethane. So H plus, we can say its starting of the reaction is a particular part or particular constituent which is used for the protonation of molecule, right? So this H plus is required, and in this way, the complete circle is going to complete. So once again, H plus is going to attach with ethanol, protonated alcohol is formed. Then in the second step, protonated alcohol react with ethanol to form an intermediate product, and then in the last step, deprotonation takes place. In the second step, dehydration takes place, that is the water molecule removed. First step, protonation takes place, and third step, deprotonation takes place. So once again, if suppose there is a type of question, complete the reaction, ethanol at 443 Kelvin in the presence of H2SO4, the product is ethene, and if here only change is 413 Kelvin instead of 443, then ether is formed. Okay. Now acidic dehydration of alcohol to give alkene. Acidic dehydration of alcohol to give alkene is also associated with substitution reaction to give an ether. The method is suitable for the preparation of ethers having primary alkyl group only. So this is also important, student. This method is especially for the preparation of ether having primary alkyl group only. The alkyl group should be unhindered and the temperature be kept low, right? We already seen that particular area. Temperature is going to change, so it changes to alkene. Otherwise, the reaction favors the formation of alkene. The reaction follows SN1 pathway when the alcohol is secondary or tertiary, about which you will learn in higher classes. So that discussion is not needed here actually. However, the dehydration of secondary and tertiary alcohol to give corresponding ether is unsuccessful as elimination competes over substitution, and as a consequence alkenes are easily formed, right? So finally we get the idea that this is especially for the primary alkyl group, ether having primary alkyl group. For secondary and tertiary it is not used. Now the next method for the preparation of ether is Williamson synthesis. This is a name reaction, right? And by using this method or this process, we can form both symmetrical and unsymmetrical ether. So student, I already cleared this point. What do you mean by symmetrical and unsymmetrical ether during the classification part? Symmetrical ether means both the alkyl group which are attached to the oxygen is same, then it is symmetrical ether. And if this R and R dash which are present in ROR dash form, if both are different, then it is called unsymmetrical ether. So it is an important laboratory method for the preparation of symmetrical and unsymmetrical ethers. In this method, an alkyl halide is allowed to react with sodium alkoxide. So alkyl halide with sodium alkoxide, and it gives ether. Now ethers containing substituted alkyl group secondary or tertiary may also be prepared by this method. The reaction involved SN2 attack of an alkoxide ion on primary alkyl halide. So here SN2 attack is occurred. Student, you can see this attachment. Right? So here alkoxide part is the contain this tertiary part also, right? So this is the formation. Now better results are obtained if the alkyl halide is primary. So here also you can see it's simple alkyl halide, right? Now if it is primary alkyl halide, the result will be better. Now in case of secondary and tertiary alkyl halide, elimination competes over substitution, and if a tertiary alkyl halide is used, an alkene is the only reaction product and no ether is formed. For example, the reaction of sodium ethoxide with this CS3 thrice CBr, right? So if you want to write the IUPAC name of this compound, it is 2-bromo-2-methyl-propane. So it is a tertiary alkyl halide. So when tertiary alkyl halide is going to use in this Williamson synthesis, you can see a student here only alkene is formed. So basically the good product or good yield is only possible if the alkyl halide is primary, that is the good one, right? And if secondary or tertiary, then it is not so much suitable, and if tertiary is there, then it is directly only alkene is the main product, ether is not going to form. And it is because alkoxides are not only nucleophiles but strong bases as well. So they react with alkyl halide leading to elimination reaction. So this is the region, right? Now phenols are converted to ether by this method also. In this method, phenol is used to phenoxide, and then because like sodium alkoxide, sodium phenoxide is also used, an alkyl halide, and it gives ether. Yes, it is a kind of unsymmetrical ether. One group is phenyl, another group is alkyl. So you suppose there is a question, convert phenol to methoxybenzene, then you can use here instead of RX we can use like CH3Cl, and then we get our methoxybenzene. So here instead of R we can write just CH3 only. The other name or the common name of methoxybenzene is anisole, and this is a very familiar name. Okay, so I hope this particular preparation, one of that preparation of ether, that is the by dehydration of alcohol, right, and then Williamson synthesis is clear to all of you. Okay, and how this phenol also converted to phenoxide moiety, and which gives aromatic ether. Now so mainly 2 points or 2 processes there for the preparation of ether, right? After that we are going to start physical properties of ether. Okay, so in this physical properties of estuarine, mainly the boiling point part and solubility is there. We already discussed this boiling point by using ether with respect to alcohol also. So what is the order during this boiling point when we compare hydrocarbons, ether and alcohol? But no problem, once again I am going to discuss the point. First of all I want to discuss the dipole moment, polarity, whatever the things it's present in the case of ether. So the CO bond in ethers are polar, and thus ethers have a net dipole moment. The weak polarity of ethers do not appreciably affect their boiling point, which are comparable to those of alkanes of comparable molecular masses, but are much lower than the boiling points of alcohol, as shown in following cases. So the order of here means we get a point that why the boiling point of ethers are greater than hydrocarbons, that is from alkanes, and why it is not, or why it is lower than the boiling point of alcohol. So the reason for the less boiling point of ether than alcohol is the absence, or ether cannot form hydrogen bond like alcohol. So in this, the ether is due to the presence of hydrogen bonding in alcohols. The reason it's already given here, the last difference in boiling point of alcohol and ether is due to the presence of hydrogen bonding in alcohol, and which is absent in the case of ethers, right? So we already discussed this particular point, but here we just discuss about that the hydrogen bond is absent or not present, such like alcohols. But student, I already cleared the point. If any electronegative element part is there, they can form hydrogen bond if it is going to attach with the water molecule or dissolve in the water molecule or dissolve to water. So the water molecule of hydrogen form hydrogen bonding with the oxygen of ether in the pattern which you seen on this screen. You can see the ROR part, that oxygen of ether form hydrogen bond with the H of water molecule, right? So this is the point, and on the basis of that ethers are miscible in water, right? And this effect or this property is resembles to those of alcohol of the same molecular mass, right? Means in the case of boiling point we say that yes, there is no hydrogen bonding, but when it is going to be dissolved in water molecule, it forms hydrogen bonding, and the reason this is the reason for the same kind of miscibility of ethers like alcohols, right? So earlier member or starting member or the lower members of ethers are also soluble in same extent or miscible in same extent like alcohols, right? So both, for example, both ethoxyethane and butane 1-ol are miscible to almost the same extent, that is 7.5 and 9 gram per 100 ml water. So respectively, while pentane is essentially immiscible with water. So the reason I already explained, but here in this paragraph it is mentioned that this is due to the fact that just like alcohols, oxygen of ether can also form hydrogen bond with water molecule as shown. So student, the reason is also given in this particular paragraph, and I always told you to all of you that you can make notes from the slides or the PPT which you can see on the screen, and if you read that one and if you listen carefully my statement, my words, then student, no any other thing is required, no any other reference is required, right? You can write the specific point, specific topics from here only. And once again, NCERT is the best book for class 12 student. So here how many things we are getting? Number one, why the boiling points of ether is greater than alkane, and why the boiling point of ether is less than alcohol. Clear? Now why alcohol is soluble in water, ether is soluble in water, right? Okay, so these two property we seen here. Okay, and here student, once again you can see that structure. Now the chemical reaction, so only these two property is there which I already told you. One is the boiling point and second is the solubility. So let's start with the chemical reaction, and the first reaction is cleavage of CO bond in ether. So ethers are least reactive of the functional group. The cleavage of CO bond, that is the breaking of CO bond in ethers, takes place under drastic condition with excess of hydrogen halide, and the reaction of dialkyl ether gives two alkyl halide molecules. So both the R of ether is going to change in alkyl halide, right? That's why we are getting two alkyl halide, but it is, we can say it is a kind of stepwise reaction. First, in the case of one R is going to remove and alcohol as a byproduct. Second, that alcohol again continuously react with the excess of that hydrogen halides to give alkyl halide, and water is removed as a byproduct. Now alkyl aryl ethers are cleaved at the alkyl oxygen bond due to the more stable aryl oxygen bond, right? And the reaction is phenol and alkyl halides. So here you can see, student, means here the alkyl and aryl group is present in between oxygen, but the question is why only alkyl halide is formed, not aryl halide? So for that part, here the statement is alkyl aryl ethers are cleaved at the alkyl oxygen bond, means OR bond is going to break, not AR-O bond is break, right? That's why here phenol and alkyl halide is formed, right? But here, like alkyl means aliphatic ethers, in the case of this aromatic part, two product is not going to form, means after formation of phenol the reaction is going to stop. And if you consider the reactivity order of halogen acid, that means instead of X, if it is HI, HBr, HCl, HF, so in this way if you want to compare, so in that situation the order is HI greater than HBr greater than HCl, means hydrogen iodide undergoes faster in this reaction comparison to HBr and HCl. And the reason is same, the bond length. The bond length between HI is greater than from the remaining HBr and HCl. So when bond length is greater, then bond enthalpy is going to less, or the bond is going to break easily, right? So this method and this reaction is specially used for the conversion of aromatic ether, especially suppose you want to convert anisole to phenol. Listen carefully, these reactions are important in this way actually. So if you want to convert anisole to phenol, so you can write anisole plus HX, that means you can simply write HI. Then we are getting phenol plus CS3I, because in anisole instead of R CS3 is there, its IUPAC name is methoxybenzene. So methoxybenzene plus HI gives phenol plus methyl iodide. Okay student, and order is already you can see on this particular screen. HI greater than HBr greater than HCl. So this is the trend. Okay, so I hope this point is clear to all of you, right? Now the next topic is, now however when one of the alkyl group is tertiary group, the halide formed is a tertiary halide, right? Halide form is tertiary halide. So here is the reaction, you can see if one alkyl part is the tertiary, then the formation of tertiary halide. Okay, and methanol is the product. And here is the explanation that why after phenol the reaction is not going to happen. Like the formation of, after formation of alcohol, the next step is going to occur, but here after alcohol again alcohol is going to react, but in phenol, after formation of phenol, the next reaction is not going to happen. So here is the reason, student. Phenols do not react further to give halides because the sp2 hybridized carbon of phenol cannot undergo nucleophilic substitution reaction needed for conversion to the halide. So this is the reason, that's why phenol do not react further to give the product. Okay, so today I end with this topic, right? The remaining topic I will discuss in my next video, and yes, in next video this chapter is going to finish, right? So we just completed the preparation part, physical properties of ether and just 2 chemical properties. And in next video I also discuss some of the question, also some conversions and all. Okay, thank you.